Now, now we will move on to this session. Madam, we'll move on to the session. Yeah. Now I would welcome and invite our today's speaker, Dr. Sandeep Kelkar, sir, an international EQ. Then, sir, Dr. Sandeep Kelkar is a consultant pediatrician at MRR Children Hospital and Jupiter Hospital, Bethany, and Sri Prathamesh Hospital. He's a founder director of Equip Kids, the first center for emotional intelligence in India, established in 2006. He's certified trained expert in emotional intelligence from 6 Seconds USA, certified mindfulness practitioner from USA, and chairman of Indian Academy of Pediatrics National Module on Emotional Intelligence. Sir is the invited faculty and speaker at Nexus EQ Conference on Emotion and Emotional Intelligence at Harvard and University and European Pediatric Congress at Rome. Sir, welcome, sir, and over to you, sir.
Thank you so much for that kind introduction. I am delighted to be here. Thank you, IMA. Thank you, Dr. Archana. And thank you, Dr. Agarwal and Dr. Asokan for being here and inviting me and giving me opportunity to talk about this important concept of how emotional intelligence is key to our happiness. And whatever I'm going to talk is based on art and science of happiness, art and science of emotional intelligence, and science of positive psychology. So just give me a few seconds to open my presentation now. So let me begin by asking all of you, and if it is possible, try to get all of you unmuted video, because I would like to be with you face to face, because this is a kind of presentation where it's on emotional intelligence. So it will be great if we have, all the videos unmuted so that we are face to face. And to begin with, I would like to ask you, and I would like to make this little bit interactive, so that you can put some one of the questions which I asked, just put it in the chat, or you can just speak about it. So let me start by asking you the first question. And of course, my agenda is very simple for today's talk. I'm going to talk about what happiness is and what it is not. Then what are these obstacles to happiness? Then how this emotional intelligence as a concept, more than IQ, why this EQ and emotional intelligence matters when it is happiness and success? What is a little bit of science behind this happiness concept? And of course, I would like to give you at the end few tools, which are takeaway tools in emotional intelligence to enhance happiness. All this I have been using in my life myself. So I hope that it will be of some help to you, all of you, to enhance happiness in your life. So to begin with, this is the question I wanted to ask you right in the beginning. Just imagine this, that a scientist has invented recently a happiness machine. Okay, and he has given you a button, happiness button, which you can just apply on the body, and anytime in the day you just press that button, you will feel happy. You will feel that joy, the chemicals of joy will get dispersed in your blood, and you will actually feel happy. How many of you will like to press this button? How many of you will like to press this happiness button? Just yes or no. You can just put it in the chat. If I will get some answers from you, it will be great. Would you like to press this button, happiness button? Anytime you just press it, you feel happy.
No.
Maybe yes, maybe no. If you are saying yes, okay. Most of you are saying happiness, you want just press the button and feel happy. No, okay. Saraswati, thank you. Yeah. So this question was actually asked by University of UC Berkeley to thousands of youths and adults. Them answered no. And they were asked why. So they said, we want true happiness. We just don't want, just to press button and feel happy. We want that inner happiness. And that's what I'm going to focus in my next 45 minutes about how we get into that dynamic happiness, that is happiness from within. Because most of the times we are focused on what is called as hedonic happiness. The happiness comes from, the how much money we have, how much real estate and how much fame we have got. We depend on that on our happiness, but that accounts for only 10 to 15% of our happiness according to science. So the eudaimonic happiness, that is the happiness from within, is 40 to 45% of it is depends on the intentional activities which we do in our life moment to moment. And that's what we can apply emotional intelligence in those moments to feel happy. And that's what I am going to focus. So before I come to what happiness is, I would like to, in first 10 minutes, give you just background about this science of happiness has been studied for last 2 or 3 decades all over the world. And they have found that what happiness is not is also very important before we know what happiness is. And what happiness is not, it is not about having all our personal needs met. It is not about, getting everything, the materialist things which we need and getting all those things, personal needs met. It is not about always feeling satisfied with life. That's not happiness. It is not about feeling pleasure all the time. Yes, we would like to feel pleasure all the time, but that's not what happiness is. Happiness is not about never feeling negative emotions. So it is not that, we should be 24/7 feeling joy and happiness, no anger, no fear, no anxiety, no disappointment, no other negative shades of feeling. We should be feeling all the time, positive emotions. That's not happiness. It is not about having, of course, seeking for positive emotions all the time. And of course, there is no one mantra actually. There is no one prescription for happiness. And what I'm going to say is, because it doesn't, one size fits all, it's not a solution for happiness. Every individual will have his or her own way of choosing happiness or creating and intentionally creating happiness in their life. So on a lighter note, they say that if you want happiness for an hour, take a nap. If you want happiness for a day, go fishing. If you want happiness for a month, and that can be controversial, get married. And if you want happiness for a year, inherit a property. But if you want happiness for a lifetime, help somebody else. And that's what, on a lighter note, where, of course, the last part is very much important, and that's what we are going to focus. And as you can see, it doesn't depend on how you live, what conditions you are in. Happiness can be created, and that can be created intentionally. And it's a choice we can take every moment, no matter what situation you are going through, no matter what sufferings you are going through. So there was a longest study done on happiness at Harvard, and that went on for almost 7 to 8 decades. And what was found at the end of this study was, what are the factors and what are the character traits which are important for a person to be happy in life. And what they found was really fascinating. They found that these were the few character traits which were there in people whom they studied right from their younger age, when they were graduates, to throughout their life for almost 7 decades. Altruism, humor, delayed gratification, optimism, and healthy relationships. These are the real crux of happy life. That's what they found. And if you see, how many of these are related to our academic intelligence? How many of these character traits are related to our IQ, so-called, we call it, IQ or academic intelligence, this general intelligence which we say. And you will agree with me that it's not at all related to our IQ. These are all traits which are contributed because of our skills which are beyond IQ. And most of them are related to emotions, if you see. They are the relation about emotions, how you are intelligent and smart about your own as well as others' emotions. And that's what this longest study of happiness has given us. So what are the benefits? Why should we be focusing on, basically working and studying happiness? Because Happy people are more productive, they're creative at work, they have more positive relationships, healthy relationships, and they bring that climate in the society much better. They are more healthier and live longer. They have stronger immune system. They cope better with stress and trauma, and they are more resilient in spite of odds which are going on in life. But there are certain obstacles to happiness. And I would like to focus on 3 obstacles, because once we know the obstacles and challenges, we can then work to, that can be an opportunity to create, more happiness. To first obstacle, it's called hedonic adaptation trap. We desire something. For example, you want a car. Okay. You strive for it, you get it. You get it. Then after 1 month, you start getting adapted to it. In the sense, you start feeling, not so great about that. And then you feel unhappy. Then there is more desire. Then you get it. Again, there is adaptation. So basically, hedonic adaptation is a fancy word for getting used to good things in our life. And COVID has taught us that, be grateful, show that gratitude towards smaller things which are there in life, which we get. And this trap, we should come out of it, because that's an obstacle to happiness. Sir Abdul Kalam ji has said that, don't compare your life to others. There is no comparison between sun and the moon. They shine when it's their time. And we see, when you go to social media, every time you see on the Facebook, people are posting about the good things happening in their life. And inadvertently, we start comparing our life with their own life, and that's how sometimes there are people who are, seen depressed just because they are on a longer time on Facebook comparing their lives with others' lives. So that's an obstacle to happiness. Don't compare your life with others' lives. You have your own life. It's unique. It's powerful. You can create a lot of happiness in your life, whatever may be the conditions. Third and most important obstacle, we focus on something we don't have and get preoccupied and enjoy things you do have. But that, we need to be in the moment and try to intentionally create that happiness by focusing on what you have. Be grateful about it. And that's going to definitely enhance happiness. Okay, so now we'll come to, after knowing about what happiness is not and what are obstacles to happiness, and how happiness is a choice, and little bit about benefits of happiness. Now we'll come to the concept of emotional intelligence and how it is, helpful in creating that happiness. If you see, right from the time you wake up in the morning to you go to the bed at night, you are feeling a range of emotions, hundreds of emotions. And in the dictionary, there are more than 3,000 words for feelings. But hardly we are taught about these words in the childhood as well as, anywhere in the world, in the school also. These emotions we feel, many a times we are not aware of them, and then they take charge of us. Okay. So emotions, they are going to impact us all throughout our life, because that's the reality. It's not something which is abstract. It is there in the form of neurochemicals in all of us. And they are actually adaptive. The science is very clear that emotions, they will either help you or hurt you. If you have skills, these emotions will start helping you rather than hurting you. So that's why knowing about our own emotions and what we do with them really counts in our life. And that's the key to happiness. And that's why the intelligence applied to emotions, and that's what we call it as emotional intelligence. Being smarter about our emotional life is the key to happiness. So emotional intelligence, if we apply, we will be having better happiness, success, and well-being. So what is this concept of emotional intelligence? All of us have heard about this concept of IQ, intellectual quotient, isn't it? When we say that a child is, topper in the school, is having, good IQ. But that same child may not be really happy, healthy, successful in future as he grows into adulthood, because we are not focused on their other skills which are beyond IQ, which are required for day-to-day life to create happiness and success. And that's what is, emotional intelligence. And in short, it is about the 4 intelligent things we can do about our own as well as others' emotion. Can we intelligently identify accurately our own emotions? Can we perceive and identify emotions in others? Can we understand why we are feeling this way we are feeling right now in this moment? Understand cause and impact of those emotions in our life? And can we utilize this information which we get from the emotions to guide our behavior and thinking, our decision making? And of course, can we manage our own emotions and manage emotions in others? So these are very 4 intelligent things we can do in our life. And these are so much crucial. If you see these skills which are related to emotions, which are more famously called as emotional intelligence, they are so crucial and essential skills for happiness, health, and well-being. Because if we understand our own emotions, know what you are feeling, then only you can ultimately manage them and then navigate through those situations in a better way. Of course, these emotions will be useful to you if they are, uh, because they are full of information, they have wisdom behind it. So if we try to focus on these emotions, we can create happiness. And that's why called as the essential skills required for happiness. Now you can see on this slide, all of you are able to see this and you know this movie. Yes, anyone? Three Idiots? Yeah. And you know the characters in this movie, right? On the left side, I'm talking about characters, right? I'm not talking about the actors. On the left side is the Rancho, and on the right side is Virus, right? And you know these characters, Rancho and Virus. And just imagine that, who was creating that happiness more in this character in this movie? And both of them were really highly intelligent, as you know. And it was shown in the movie, they were really high IQ geniuses. But who could create more happiness? Yeah, you're right. It was Rancho who was having higher EQ, right? So he was poised, he was outgoing, he was committed to people and causes, empathetic and caring. As against that, though this professor had high IQ, he had not so much developed EQ, that is emotional intelligence, and he was condescending, emotionally bland, not so empathetic, compassionate. So these were the character traits which we're seeing. And as you can see, the success, happiness, all that depends on how much emotional intelligence, not just how much IQ you have, but how much EQ you have. There has to be balance in that. It's not that IQ is not important, but it's just a threshold. But what takes you ahead and what makes you more happier is your emotional intelligence or emotional quotient or EQ. So let's find out, having intense emotions in this situation, but then the intelligence which was used by this disfigured person in this video clip could change the scenario in the situation. There were options in front of him actually. He could have just walked off from that place, or the mother could have walked off. But then this person chose to create something. And that's with the use of emotional intelligence. He first recognized how he was feeling. He then, used humor to guide his thinking and actions. And then he used humor to deal with the child's fear. So that was, how emotionally intelligently the whole situation was tackled by this person, a disfigured person. And just see at the end of the 3 minutes clip how the happiness was created, how they were, they were actually friends at the end of this 3 minutes video. The situation could have been different. The end result could have been different if this person could have not used these skills of emotional intelligence. So that's how in every moment of life, there are things which we can do for ourselves as well as others, which can help to create happiness. And just imagine if this emotional intelligence created and actually been used by each and every of individual of us start using these emotional intelligence skills, how the society will look like from maybe 5 years from now or 10 years from now. There will be definitely happiness everywhere and well-being. Okay, so a little bit about science of happiness, and I'm not going to go into details, but then we need to hack these 4 chemicals of happiness. What they say is dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphin. These are all chemicals of happiness which are there in our body, but there are intentional activities which we can do. For example, dopamine can be created by doing certain self-care activities, or eating healthy food. Oxytocin can be actually created and done by doing exercises, endorphins and serotonin. So all these chemicals can be actually created in our body by doing intentional activity, and that will create and happify ourselves. So now next 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, what I'm going to do is give you certain tools of emotional intelligence which will help you to enhance happiness. And these have been scientifically proven through scientific research all over the world in the field of emotions and emotional intelligence. What is the first tool? First tool is about emotional self-awareness. So any given moment of time, just imagine this, you ask this question to others, how are you feeling? Right? And we ask this question to others and we get the answer. What is the answer normally we get? Fine, okay, good, isn't it? But then just imagine this, that you ask this question to yourself and check your feelings. How are you feeling right in the moment, right now? And just try to give a word that will be really important to begin your process of happiness. So Dr. Mark Brackett has given us an interesting tool called as mood meter, and you can use this tool. You can take a screenshot of this and use this all throughout your day, maybe 3 or 4 times. Check your feelings. So as you can see in the mood meter, there is an x-axis where there is pleasantness. How much pleasant you are feeling right now? If I may ask you, how are you feeling? You'll have to first note down your pleasantness. How much pleasant you are feeling from -5 to +5. So you will be somewhere between -5 and +5 on the pleasantness, that is x-axis. Then go to y-axis, that's about energy. How much energetic you are feeling right now? Are you feeling really lethargic, -5, or you're feeling really excited and highly energetic, +5? Give a number. So you have 2 numbers, one on the x-axis and one on the y-axis. If you just plot it, you will fall into one of these 4 quadrants: yellow, green, blue, and red, right? So where are you right now? I would like to ask all of you, plot your on this mood meter and just write down your quadrant. Where are you right now? How are you feeling? Is it yellow, green, blue, or red? I will need some answers from you so that it can become a little more interactive. So this is about emotional self-awareness. Thank you, Dr. Archana. Yellow. Dr. Rashmi, yellow. Great. Dr. Rehana, yellow. So I can understand, it's a weekend, nice, weekend, Saturday evening, and you are hearing some pediatrician talking about emotional creates a lot of yellow in you. That's good. And it's about pleasantness and energy. And as I can see, some of you are green. So as we know that most of the times throughout the day, either we are in yellow, green, blue, or red. Though we would like to be 24/7 in yellow, that's not the reality. We are sometimes in blue, sometimes in red. But that doesn't mean there is something abnormal. So even if you are yellow, or if you are not in yellow, you are in blue or red, that's also fine. We need to be knowing about it. We need to be aware about our emotional status at any moment of time. If we know about it, if we are aware, then we can do something about it, isn't it? Because I have seen doctors and even those residents who are working in ICUs, they are many times in that blue and red all throughout the day. And then at the end of the day, they obviously will feel really, really exhausted and, less of energy. So if they just use this mood meter, try to navigate, manage their feelings at certain stage, then they will be able to switch and shift from blue and red to maybe green or yellow. So this mood meter is a fascinating tool which we can use not only in family, we can use it in schools, everywhere, even in our hospital and in our clinic, where we just plot and check our feelings, sometimes maybe 3 or 4 times a day, and find out which quadrant we belong to. And if we see, these quadrants are made up of particular number of emotions, and you will be amazed to see how these emotions look like. Sometimes we lack vocabulary of feelings, and we are short of words. So if I ask you, how are you feeling, you may say, I'm in yellow. But then if I ask you, what is exactly you are feeling, it may be difficult to give a word to your feeling, because we are totally oblivious of certain vocabulary. There are more than 3,000 shades of feelings we can feel. And as you can see, each quadrant has different emotions. And it's not that the red quadrant is bad, blue quadrant is bad, and only yellow and green are good. Certain activities, we need to be in certain quadrant, right? So we have to choose the quadrant. So probably if you are, playing a game and you are enjoying that, maybe yellow will be the quadrant, you will like to be. But that's not the very accurate quadrant to be in. If you are writing a condolence letter, you need to be in the blue quadrant, maybe, isn't it? So that's how all these quadrants of mood meter are extremely important, but awareness about these quadrants is so much important. And if we are aware, then we can shift. Going to the next tool after mood meter is create your happiness umbrella. So if you take umbrella of happiness, there are multiple feelings which can be brought under that umbrella. There are many feelings like being thankful, trusting, content, comfortable, excited, relieved, elated, confident. You can add your own, words to this happiness umbrella. And then think of, as a family, as together, what activities can create more of these feelings. Maybe in the family, you can have a family policy, feelings policy, to think about what are these emotions we want to create more and more in our life in the family. Maybe you come out with some words like feeling supported, feeling cared, feeling loved, isn't it? And these actually create that happiness in the climate, in the emotional climate of the family. And all the stakeholders in the family, what we can do more intentionally to create these feelings. So that can be, a kind of activity we can do in the family, where we create our happiness umbrella, and we can create certain activities, certain strategies we can think of in the family. Just, have an informal meeting, maybe spend 15 minutes together and create this happiness umbrella for your family, which will help really in building the happiness. Then increasing our daily dose of positive emotions. How we do that? By creating more and more positive conversations. It is said that especially in relationships like marriages, the the ratio of positivity and negativity, and positive conversations and negative conversation, for that marriage to sustain for a long time and become very happy, is 5:1. So 5 conversations to 1 negative conversation. So are we creating our daily increase of these positive conversation, appreciation, sense of appreciations of others, showing, thanking other person for something you are doing, he or she is doing. Maybe, create those positive feelings of gratitude, thankfulness, and, appreciation. So all those can be done, though there will be conflict sometime, there will be difference of opinion, but how we can be, create more of positivity in our life by creating and having this dialogue and conversations which create more of positive thoughts and positive feelings. Then is another tool which I would like to give to enhance happiness, and that's called ruler. And ruler stands for an acronym. And this is how we apply intelligence to our emotions, is by recognizing, understanding, labeling, expressing, and regulating emotions. And this ruler approach has been given by Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence. And all of us, many times we feel overwhelmed or stressed out, isn't it? Sometimes we feel stressed out, but we don't know why. It's, it's so much stressed out, you get into burnout also. And we see a lot of burnout in medical professionals nowadays. So what is happening there? That's they are not being taught about, and they are not applying these ruler skills of emotional intelligence. First, whenever you are feeling stressed out, just pause, give a pause to yourself, don't react, just recognize what are you feeling, what are those multiple feelings you're feeling right now. There may be feelings of anxiety, there may be feelings of disappointment, sadness, any intense feelings which are there. Just try to recognize and identify them accurately first. So that's the first step. Once you recognize, go to the next is understand what is this trigger for this anxiety, what is the cause of this anxiety, what is this information this anxiety is trying to give. So trying to understand what's beneath this anxiety or this stress is very important. Once you understand that, the cause and the impact of it, start labeling your emotions accurately, because there is a science behind it. If you have intense emotions, just labeling these emotions will bring down the intensity of feelings. It is called as name it to tame it. So if you name your emotions, you can tame your emotions, okay? Because this happens in our brain actually. When you are naming it, you are trying to subdue your activity in your emotional brain, the activity in the amygdala. So when you are naming your emotions accurately, just say that, I seem to be a little stressed, I'm feeling a little anxious. So uh, just looking at yourself and your emotions as just part of you is so much important. You're detaching yourself from your emotions, and you are actually looking at them as something as a part of you. Once you label them, they become yours, and then you can start expressing and regulating them. You can express them to right person in a right way. That's very important. And of course, regulation and managing your feelings is so much important. You will have different strategies used while regulating feelings. Because of the short time interval, we cannot go into details of all these, but this ruler technique will bring down the stress levels in all the medical professionals. If we try to use it right from mood meter, we can use this ruler technique. We can actually feel that less of intense negative shades of feelings, and we can happify ourselves at the end of the day. We'll feel more energetic and maybe in the yellow quadrant. Of course, when you are looking at the life, we should be looking at the larger picture, isn't it? And look at the big picture. When I feel stressed out, generally I look at the purpose. Why am I here? And look at the big picture. Why am I doing this right now in my clinic? Though there are, a lot of patients, critical patients I am looking after, and it's creating a lot of stress. I ask this question to myself, what's my purpose? What am I here for? Once I focus on my purpose, the larger than life purpose, the stress levels go down. Because then, all these don't matter, all these emotions which are created, and then you become more equipped to actually deal with them, and you become more resilient. There is an important platter which is given by Dr. Daniel Siegel of University of Berkeley to create happiness and health in life. And this we can use as intentional activities which we can do in 24 hours to create happiness. And this is very interesting tool. It's called Healthy Mind Platter. As we know, for a healthy body, we require nutritious diet, healthy diet. Similarly, for a healthy mind and a happy mind, we require these 7 zones in 24 hours of our life. First is how much sleep you are having. A quality sleep of 7 to 8 hours is extremely important for your happiness. Physical time, that is, time you are giving for exercise. You need to give some time to your, bodily exercise. Maybe it's, you are moving your body, aerobic, maybe dancing, whatever. So physical time is important. Third is the focus time. Intentionally, you're focused on the present moment, doing something which can create happiness. That's a focus time. Then time in. Time in is about reflection time. How much of our time we are using for self-reflection, introspection? I think because of these gadgets, our attention has been sucked. outside rather than going inside. And actually, this inward journey really counts in our life. And that time in is about reflection, doing some meditation activity. Then downtime is about time to do goalless activity. Just, you can have some, something which you really enjoy doing in this downtime. Maybe listen to music, maybe, play your interesting hobby. Playtime is about being creative. Having creativity time is a very important time we can give in 24 hours to create happiness. And of course, connecting time, last but not the least, connecting with a person who is meaningful in your life daily for some time, and just talk with this person, maybe chat, maybe video call. So if you see, you can create your healthy mind and happy mind platter right now and find out whether there is balance or imbalance. If there is some balance, if there is some imbalance, maybe some time zone is more and some time zone is very less, we can intentionally choose to change that. Maybe, you are not giving so much time for maybe connection, or maybe you're not giving so much time for exercise and physical time. Just try to create your own balanced, healthy mind as well as happy mind platter. If we use this, these are intentional activities we can all the time do and find out if there is balance and create that balance in our life. And that's very important. Once we create that balance, our brain and the body is integrated, and we can create that happiness and well-being, which is subjective well-being. Because happiness is ultimately about subjective well-being. It's about how we feel from inside in a better way subjectively. And last but not the least, where are you? When you are doing certain activity, are you mindful or you are mindful? Extremely important. As you can see on this slide, this lady, what do you think? What's happening in this slide? Yes, anyone? You can either put it in the chat or you can say.
She's out, but one is going with a cluttered mind and one is actually enjoying the walk.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Absolutely, Dr. Archana. You can see the lady is full of thoughts. Her mind is full. There is clutter. There's a lot of thoughts. She is not in the present moment. As against that, the dog is mindful and he is in the present moment. He is enjoying that sunshine and everything. So how can we be more mindful in our day-to-day life? How we can practice mindfulness? That's a very essential part of happiness. And of course, emotional intelligence is required, because to be mindful, we have to pause and then, be there in the present moment, just focusing on our probably breath for some time, intentionally focusing on something non-judgmentally. And when our mind wanders, gently and lovingly bring it back to the present moment. So because of lack of time, I won't be able to take you through a mindfulness exercise, but then I would have loved to. But mindfulness can create a lot of those happy chemicals in our, in our body and mind. And all those dopamine, oxytocin, endorphins are created by this mindfulness practice. And mindfulness is a dynamic kind of meditation. You don't have to require to be, sitting at one place, closing your eyes and doing mindfulness practice. It is so dynamic process. You can do any time doing any activity. For example, you're cooking. It can be mindful cooking. Okay. Your mind is in the present moment. You are, you are actually focusing all the sensations you are feeling when you are preparing the food. When your mind wanders, you bring it back gently and lovingly. You focus. So that's a mindful cooking you can do. You can do mindful jogging. You can do mindful walking. You can do mindful eating. How many times we do mindful eating? Most of the times we are mindless, isn't it? We have television in front of us and we are watching some, serial with a lot of negative characters, and we are eating at the same time. I don't know what we are eating actually. It's not the food, but all those negativity which goes inside us. So when we are mindful, we are in the present moment. That will create a lot of happiness and well-being. So I would like to, after this, giving these few tools, and I hope this created some spark in you by knowing about little bit about emotional intelligence and intentional activity and tools which we can use to create happiness. I would like to end with a quote, which is very, very, eye opener for everyone. Is, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. If we can, be more self-aware and, let things do things certainly which are in your hand, which are in your control, and don't dwell on those things which are out of your control, and let it go for some time. It's going to create a lot of happiness. If you are sticking to something and trying to grab something, so that non-judgmental, non-striving kind of attitude, which is so easy to say and so difficult to actually, have in the life, is going to ultimately create a lot of happiness in our life. And that's how I hope I could give some tools to you in emotional intelligence, which will help us to happify ourselves. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Sir, it was indeed awesome. I mean, because I've heard you before, I know you are an excellent speaker. I have heard this topic itself from you before, so I know what kind of difference it can make. And I am really aware that 45 minutes is a very, very short time to take a topic like emotional intelligence, which can really have a positive impact on our life. So we need to take one workshop from you, and I'm very sure our socio-cultural committee will surely reach out to you to help us with taking one entire day workshop for our members, for this on this wonderful
Even,
topic.
even
So
madam, we can go for the series also.
yes,
Like
absolutely.
peace, joy, bliss, power,
Yes,
purity,
yes,
and so many
yes,
other emotions also we can ask
absolutely.
Kelkar sir to continue.
Yes,
And sir, for the mindful, there is a SOS we say. If we go somewhere else, then stop, observe, and restart to
Yeah.
your thinking where you want to. It is known as a SOS, I think.
Yeah. SOS, or it can be a solar, where you
Yes.
stop, you observe,
Observe,
then
aware,
you let it
and
go,
let
and
it
then
go.
return. So it's a
Yes.
solar process.
actually, it's
Yes.
so important, sir. I mean, I have really observed it that, at times we are so quick in one is making judgment, second is responding, in that spur of the moment. We don't realize what kind of impact it is going to have on us as well as on the person who's there right in front of us. So, I mean, whatever things we have taught, even if little of it we all can imbibe in our lives, it's going to be really, really useful. With this, before I request Swati Madam to continue with the question answer session, warm welcome from Socio-Cultural Committee team to our HSG Dr. Anil Kumar Nayak sir. Sir, welcome to the webinar.
Thank you, thank you. Sorry for late.
Not at all, sir. Sir, is it
Okay.
okay if we first take the question answer sessions?
Yes, don't worry. I didn't need to speak anything because session is over. I joined late because my network was problem.
Yes, sir.
So,
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. So, Swati Madam, can we take a few questions?
Anita,
Can we
Anita
take a few
madam is
question
going to
answer?
take question answer,
Yes.
ma'am.
Oh, she's there? Oh, great.
Yes,
Okay, yes.
Anita madam is going to
Yes.
take. And in that case, madam, we are going to be so judgmental and we are reacting, not we are in
Exactly.
becoming stable ourselves, and we are not responding. So that is a
True.
difference between reaction and response.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yes, madam. Anita madam.
Anita Madam, you'll be able to unmute yourself. I made you co-host. Yes.
Yes, sir. Now I could. Any questions from the
So either
audience?
questions can be put on the chat box and Anita Madam can take it up, or you can just raise your hand and we'll invite you to ask your questions.
Chat box.
Either chat box or you can even raise your hand and we'll invite you to ask your question. Sir, how important is it for us to, you know, do this emotional intelligence or this emotional quotient exercises with children? I mean, because we are learning when we are in our 40s and 50s, you know. So, how important do you think this is for children to learn? I mean, this emotional quotient and the emotional intelligence, rather, I would say.
It's most crucial actually. And if you see in 21st century, what we are seeing is increasing mental illnesses all over all over the world. And WHO has come up with this slogan that no health without mental health.
True.
And mental health is really deteriorating. So in children, as we see, as they grow into teenager, and there are larger number of children having depression and all those psychosomatic issues and mental health issues, we can actually use this emotional intelligence as a psychological vaccine against all these problems. And I presented this at Harvard when I presented this concept of emotional intelligence as something we can give it to children in early age as an
True,
immunization.
absolutely.
And we can be, that's absolutely a missing piece on a school system, in the family, everywhere, because hardly we talk about emotions, isn't it? But
And
we
I
can
think in
educate
today's,
them early.
yes, in today's world of social media, rather the emotions are disintegrating. To a large
Yes,
extent, the emotions are disintegrating. Like
absolutely,
in a small
absolutely.
family, I think everybody will be sitting in four corners in the room also with their four mobile phones. And it's sir, then why this important issue is not being taken up in school system? I mean, can we not take this up at an early age in the school system itself, so that, you know, the people, the children who come out, because now we see even parents, they fight for one mark. I mean, we have practically seen it, you know, rather than teaching their children that it's okay, I mean, not to have one more mark or not to be at the top of the class, or, you know, just to learn the concept so that you should be able to utilize when it actually is needed. We teach our children somewhere, you know, to be aggressive, to be demanding it all, to be wanting it all, to go all out and get it all. So, I mean, is it not important that children are taught this concept of being happy, of being emotionally intelligent, of not hurting each other, of not bullying each other, you know, of just staying in peace and harmony? Why this concept is not being taken up in the schools?
No, it has been taken for last 2 decades. There is a kind of movement going on all over the world, including in India. It's called as SEL, Social Emotional Learning. It's nothing but teaching children the emotional and social skills, which are the basic fundamental skills which are required for health, happiness, and success. And these have been taught. So what we do in our organization is teach these skills age appropriately to children, even in schools. In fact, there is a right now Rotary has taken up this project in a big way in Mumbai, where they have given us 5 schools, and we have our trainers going there and teaching children in the form of a curriculum in emotional intelligence, one skill by one skill at a time. Right from emotional literacy and emotion language to emotion management and empathy and all those skills which are required in emotional intelligence, and take them through experiential learning, because children learn through hands-on activities, through games, through you know they don't want lecturing. So we have created and designed certain curriculums, and these have been taken from all the authentic curriculums which have been taken in schools all over the world. So it's not that schools are not doing, but it is still less. We need to do a lot of more, because this awareness is not there. People feel that this concept is just abstract, but it is not abstract. It is something which can be applied, which can be, actually teachers can be taught about this, because ultimately it will start with teachers, the adult learning, isn't it? Once the adults start role playing deploying their own emotional skills and emotional intelligence skills, ultimately the children will also learn from them. In the family, parents need to learn about emotional intelligence. So all this, our organization and many organizations all over the world, they are doing a very fundamental work to take it to schools as well as families.
So basically, it's all us adults. We need to adapt ourselves to the emotional intelligence, and probably it will come into the generation next.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So I think, Anita, madam, there are a few questions.
Yes, yes, sir. Sir, there is one question from Dr. Rashmi. What is emotional clouding? Is it increased after COVID?
Emotional clouding is nothing but, when our brain and the body is hijacked with certain emotions. If you have intense emotions, if you are not aware, see, basically our brain is a survival organ. It's trying to pick up threats around us, all of us, all the time. And there is a very important organ structure called as amygdala in the limbic system of our brain, which is all this time looking for the threats around. If there is slightest, either even imaginary threat, we have a lot of intense emotions created, and that can actually block our thinking for some time. Okay, it's called emotional hijacking, because emotions take over you rather than you taking in charge of emotions. Then what's the way out of it? Way out of it is called a 6-second pause. Okay, because all these chemicals, when they're created in the amygdala and the emotional brain, they remain for 4 to 6 seconds and then they dissipate. But then in this 6 seconds, generally we react, and then we feel embarrassed and guilty about what did I do. When in anger fit you say something, then you feel guilty about it, isn't it? Those 6-second pause, giving pause to yourself, for 6 seconds, 4 to 6 seconds, will help you in bringing down the intensity, the clouding, and then you can think clearly. Then you have choices in front of you, you can think of and taking the choices which are more optimal or more effective.
Okay. Sir, there
Hope
is
that
one
answers.
more.
Hope that answers the question.
Oh, okay, sir.
Absolutely,
Yes.
sir.
Yes, sir. Sir, there's one more question.
Yeah.
Sir, you told about the solar to redirect in mindful meditation.
Yeah.
So they want to know what is that.
So solar is about, there are 5 things in that, the acronym for SOLAR, right? So S stands for stop. So for example, if you are, doing, you are eating the food, okay? Now probably, you have certain thoughts going on. So, you are mindlessly eating. So what you do is first is stop. You be aware that you are unaware, isn't it? That's the first step and most difficult actually. Your mind is not in the food, but somewhere else. So that is stop. Okay. Then observe. Observe is what is going on. So you observe the whatever is, maybe thoughts are going on in your, and your mind is not in the present moment. You just observe them. Don't fiddle with them. Don't follow them. Okay. Just observe. That is O. Then L is let it go. Let it go is don't follow those thoughts. Don't get, judgmental about them. Don't create more of those thoughts, but let them go. Just notice and let them go. And then A and R is and return. So you are just letting them go and lovingly and kindly returning back your attention back to the activity you are doing, that is eating. This may happen a number of times. Your mind again wanders, you bring it back, again wanders, you gently and lovingly bring it back. That's the practice of mindfulness, nothing else.
Okay, sir. Sir, there's one more question. How to face the sudden outburst, as once we take some stand, then we try to stick to justify our stand, which most of the time may be wrong, sir.
So you are, let me be clear about the outburst in other person or your own.
Here it
The-
implies probably your own.
Okay, if it is outburst in other person, definitely you can deal with it also in an emotionally intelligent way. When we are dealing with, a person who is really angry, what we need to do first is, rather than saying don't be angry, you validate and just acknowledge and give a word to, I can see that you are really feeling angry. That's it. Just say it, validate it, acknowledge it, respect that emotion, understand that emotion, rather than being judgmental on that anger. Okay. Otherwise, that's going to escalate more. And about your own intense emotions, again, you can allow yourself to feel. That's most important. We don't allow ourselves, we don't give permission to ourselves to feel certain emotions. You say so many times, I should not be angry, I should not be anxious, I should not be. How many times we say that? Instead of that, here it is, I notice that I'm feeling little anxious. Just allowing, just allowing yourself to feel will open up and bring down the intensity. And maybe you then just name the feeling and then work on and manage that feeling. Hope that answers the question.
Okay, sir.
And we
Sir,
can imagine, and sir, we can imagine a certain opposite also. If I am being angry, I should be aware. I stop that feeling, and then I should have to think that I am a peaceful. Then
I'll just
also
invite
I can get.
HSG sir to give his few remarks after this.
Yeah. So that's about, how you visualize yourself and maybe shift our thinking, it's called cognitive reframing. And many times, you have a lot of negative shades of thoughts which are there, and those are all automatic negative thoughts which come in our mind many times. First thought which pops up may be really negative, but we need to, counter it, make it into realistic positive and counter frame that thought. That will
Yes.
create a lot of,
Shift.
more shift to the positivity.
Yes.
Sir, I think in here this thing will be like we become emotionally intelligent to understand the anger emotions of the other person. I mean, I think
Yes.
it goes both the ways, that I am understanding that I am angry and I'm also understanding that the other person is angry. So in both the situations, if I am emotionally intelligent and the other person is not, at least it is up to me to control those emotions so that the things do not escalate in that manner.
Absolutely. Emotional intelligence is most applicable when you have some low EQ person around you, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Where, there's a lot of emotional hijackings happening.
True.
At that
True.
time, it requires to be non-reactive, be poised and balanced at that time
Yes,
in front of
yes,
him or her.
because it's when the other person is just aggressive and non-stop, doing something which will instigate you or irritate you or even make you go to that level where you're uttering certain words which you are definitely going to regret, you being probably a little emotionally aware about yourself, so it is better to understand that other person is not emotionally aware of what is going on and at least control your own emotions. So I think that
Absolutely.
is what helps most. So
Makes
I think
sense.
with this, we come to the end of today's session. Anita, madam, any more questions?
Madam, no, madam. Okay.
Okay.
Now I like to invite our HSD sir, Dr. Anil Kumar J. Naik sir, to share his views. Over to you,
Thank
sir.
you. There is no need to say a few words, but good subject, and many participants have joined this seminar. After Janmashtami and Independence Day and G20 summit is going on in India, and your subject is very much consultative to all the participants. I thank our faculty guest and all the members of the cultural committee. And I am happy that your committee is very active, and you are doing, this is your second session, and you will continue till 2 years. That is my wishes for you. Thank you for inviting me, and sorry for joining late because of this net problem. Thank you very much to all the office bearers of cultural committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much,
sir.
sir. Thank you for your inspirational words, sir. So I invite now Swati madam to deliver the vote of.
I think, Swati madam, before you start with the vote of thanks to all those who are here today, we'll just announce our next session. Our next session is on 23rd of September by Dr. Yagnesh Popat on life, live, love and laugh. So this is our next session, which is scheduled on Saturday, 23rd September. And again, it's going to be the same time from 5 to 6 p.m. So everybody, please do join us for the session. And Kelkar sir, thank you so much. It was an awesome session. So over
Thank
to
you.
you, Swati madam, for the vote of thanks.
Yes. Thank you, madam, Anita madam and Archana madam. Thank you. Excellent talk by Dr. Kelkar sir. Good evening, all. It was a wonderful learning experience for all of us about emotional quotient and emotional intelligence. Dr. Sandeep Kelkar sir opened a new window of our untapped abilities like emotional quotients, opportunity, and we will be using this opportunity to improve our life better. We thank Dr. Sandeep Kelkar sir from bottom of our heart for his motivational deliberation. And I would request Dr. Archana madam also to go for the series like Joy, Peace, Power, Bliss, and so many other also. We would also like to thank our guiding force of IMA headquarters, Dr. Ketan Desai sir, Dr. Sharad Agarwalji sir, IMA National President, Dr. Ashokan sir, National President-elect, Dr. Anil Kumar Nayak sir, Honorary Secretary General, Dr. Kshitej Baliji sir, Honorary Finance Secretary, and all the others also. They had provided us enough opportunity and ample guidance to organize this series of events beyond medicine series. We would also like to thank our socio-cultural national chairperson, Dr. Archana Pate Madam, for today's event especially. National convener, Dr. Kavita Ravi, and project coordinator, Dr. Anita Madam. Dr. Archana Madam has worked really hard for the success of today's event. Last but not the least, participation of all the audience and all the doctors. Without involvement of audience, the program could not be successful. I would like to express my sincere thanks to one and all who has joined the webinar and spared their valuable time. Thank you all for patiently listening. Thank you all for today.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Sandeep.
Thank you, Kelkar sir. Thank you
Thank you
once
very
again.
much.
Thank you,
Yes,
Sandeep.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you
Anita.
very
Thank you,
much.
Dr.
Thank you,
Swati.
ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank
you.
Malika
Thank you.
Madam. Thank you, Kalpita
Mm.
Madam. And thank you all the participants today.
Thank
Thank you
you,
so
Thank you,
madam.
much.
madam,
Thank
for
I think
you.
giving
Nayak
us
sir
an
has left.
opportunity
Yes.
Yeah,
for
thank you for giving
Yes.
us the
Yes, yes.
opportunity, madam.
Yes,
Thank
madam.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
And
you.
Kelkar sir,
Thank
at
you,
any
everyone.
time we will also disturb you for the next
Sure,
series
no
of
problem.
events, series
Sure, no
of
problem.
topics.
Thank you for that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
sir.
Thank you
Thank
very
Thank you.
much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, madam.